Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection Show is on the air. We're in downtown Duluth at City Hall at PACT-TV Studios. And it's Monday, May 19th. Boy, this month's going fast, too. Well, we're coming to the end of the season in hockey, and I'm just going to go over everything what happened this last year and what we can look for the following year. So let's get started. So the Stanley Cup is still running. They got the two juniors, USHL, playing their championship games Tuesday, May 20th, and down in Waterloo, they'll have at Young Arena, they'll have Waterloo Blackhawks versus Muskegon. And then up in Blaine at Fogarty Arena, they got the two final teams for the North American Hockey League. And they're going to have Lone Star Brahmas and Bismarck Bobcats. Lone Star's down by right close to Dallas, Texas. So little hockey there, and the American Hockey League still has 8 teams in their playoffs, so the Calder Cup. So let's get started. Let's start with Stanley Cup. Boy, I just love when I don't have to go to a game live where I can stay home and watch a Stanley Cup playoff game. The playoffs have been so good this year that, man, I just get glued to my seat, and it's been a great year for Stanley Cup. And like I said before, they should get rid of regular season and just play playoffs in every level of hockey. But so it's coming down to the final 4 teams in Stanley Cup. Last night, Florida just kicked Toronto's butt, and they beat them, I think it was 6-1, the final score. And so the final in the Eastern Conference is going to be Florida Panthers against the Carolina Hurricanes. These are two very good forecheck teams, and Florida has some big kids, and I'll tell you what, this is their 3rd year in a row going in the finals in the East, and they won the Stanley Cup last year, and they picked up a couple players. So they got Jones, a defenseman. He's been playing real good, and they picked Marcia from Boston. So they got a couple good players at the end of the season to help them out, and boy, that's going to be a good series. And then the other side in the Western Conference, we got the Dallas Stars versus the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers have the 2 big stars in the National Hockey League, McDavid and Draisaitl. And boy, that's another good series, man. This is just great hockey, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for the next 3-4 weeks. So it's the best of 7 still, and I think it all gets started on Wednesday night. I think the Dallas-Edmonton series starts Wednesday night. And I'm not sure who's having it Wednesday. Probably ESPN. But when it gets on the weekend, I think ABC will be taking some games. And like always, they switch it over TNT and TBS too. So we'll see where all the games are going to be on. But it starts Wednesday. Stanley Cup semis, Eastern Finals and Western Finals. 4 teams left, so boy, I was watching that game, and after the game, the Toronto fans are probably the best. They love the Toronto Maple Leafs. Biggest fan base probably in hockey, and most expensive franchise in the National Hockey League. And I tell you what, fans were not happy. They were throwing full beers, and some fans even threw their jerseys. They're so fed up on them losing all the time. So these fans are serious up there. But still fun to watch these players. So let's get going. Let's see, what else do we have up in the National Hockey League? The draft is in June. And June 27th, 28th is the National Hockey League draft. The Minnesota Wild, like always, because I think it's more because of the 15 million they don't have every year for the Parisi Suter contract that hurt them getting to the next round. They could get two very good players for 15 million. So now they finally going to get that money. But here's the thing: there's a few players that they got to re-sign, and some of that money's probably over half that money's going to go into re-signing because they're going to give Kaprizov at least 3-4 million more. He'll be one of the top 5 paid players in National Hockey League, and there's a few other players on the team that they want to re-sign, and they're going to get a couple million more. So figure at least half, maybe 2/3 of that money is going to go to re-signing players. But we should be able to, free agency, get at least one, maybe two very good players to help the team. We got that Russian coming over. He just signed an entry level. So if he is what they think he's going to be, they got another top 6 forward for the Wild. That's going to help. And he's normally a wing, but he's been playing center, and that's the biggest spot in National Hockey League now, finding centers. So if he can play center, that's really going to help the team. And we'll see how they do with the defense, who they're going to re-sign and who they're going to let go. Because it's going to be a very interesting offseason for the Minnesota Wild. And they held the draft lottery for the National Hockey League, and the New York Islanders are going to have the number 1 pick this year. But San Jose will be number 2. They were number 1 last year, and then Chicago, they'll get the 3rd pick. I'll tell you, give Chicago, if they can get another good player that can be a top 4 defenseman and a top 6 forward. They're a very young team, and I give them a couple of years, and I think they're back in the playoff picture and back to where they used to be, where they're winning championships. So we'll see on that. And like I said, the draft lottery is in LA, June 27th, 28th. Let's see what we got here. Well, we got a lot of good goalies left in Ottinger's left. Anderson for Carolina's left, and Bobrovsky from the Russian goalie for Florida is still in it. So we got 3 of the best 4 goalies probably in the playoffs are still in it. So that's another reason why these 4 teams are still playing hockey in the playoffs. So it's going to be exciting. And just looking over some of the points totals in the Stanley Cup. What a great picking up Mikko Rantanen. He used to play with McKinnon at Colorado Avalanche for years, and he's the top point getter in the National Hockey League in the playoffs. And Connor McDavid. So Rantanen has 19 points. McDavid has 17. Draisaitl has 16. Let's see, who else is left? Oh, we got Shavinsko for Carolina. He's in it. And the rookie player that's playing real good is Jackson Blake for Carolina, too. He has the most points for all the rookies in the playoffs. He has 5. Jackson's dad, Jason, played many years. Moorhead kid. But I think Jackson played at Eden Prairie his last year, though. Let's see, what else is going on in the National Hockey League? Oh, Nate Schmidt for Florida. He's moved around on different teams. St. Cloud Cathedral boy and the Minnesota Gopher for defense, man. He's one of the top. He had 7 points going in. I don't know if he got a point last night. So Bouchard for Edmonton and Harley that got the overtime goal to send them into the finals in the Western Conference. Thomas Harley has 11 points. He got the winning goal. So there's a lot of good D left. The top point getters are on these teams, so it's going to be fun watching that. So there you go with the National Hockey League. The American Hockey League, the Calder Cup, they call that, for their championship trophy in the playoffs. And they got 8 teams left. And they got Milwaukee versus Texas, Colorado versus Abbotsford, and then we got Rochester versus Laval, and Charlotte versus Hershey. I think Hershey won it the last 2 years, and we got a local kid from Grand Rapids, Hunter Shepard, was the goalie for that team, and he's still the goalie on that team. So maybe they can go for a three-peat. So pretty neat. 8 teams left. Too bad there's not a team close by here. I guess Milwaukee and Iowa, the Wild team, the Iowa team is too closest. If you want to go watch the minor league clubs of all these National Hockey League teams. And we got some local kids, Minnesota kids on some of these teams I saw. Ben Steves that played for UMD and senior year at Eden Prairie. Brett Shortsky, his dad was the first Mr. Hockey in Minnesota. And we got Matt Kerstead, played at North Dakota and then Moorhead High School. Who do we have there? Nick Lieberlin, he's Eden Prairie. I think he played at Omaha in college. So you got a lot. I mean, really, there's a lot of Minnesota kids in the American Hockey League. And I had a guest on, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, from Flow Hockey, that you can get their whole package. You can get $150 a year. You can watch all the American Hockey League games, every team. And plus you can get the USHL. They have different leagues, and there's a lot of hockey, and they archive it so you can go back. So if you're a big hockey fan, go to Flow Hockey, $150. So great deal. There you go with the American Hockey League still going. That's going to go on a little longer. That's going to go on at least another month. So let's go what happened in college. I was down at the Frozen Four. That was in St. Louis. You know, it's fun going every year where they put it in a different city. They use some cities that are just great for the Frozen Four, and they know that, so they have to come back. And right now, the 2 big cities are St. Paul, right here in our home state. We're just hockey fans, and so they love it. National NCAA love it here. In Boston is the other one, but they took it down to 2012 to Tampa Bay, and now we've been there 3 times already. So Tampa Bay is becoming a nice place because it's warm, and the fans come down there in the winter from up north, and it's great. So every city. Next year it's in Vegas. I know it's coming to Washington, D.C. the year after, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. And I think it's coming back to Chicago. So it goes to different cities, and it's fun being in different cities, doing different things, seeing different things. And every year at the Frozen Four, because the games, semifinal games, there's 2 games on Thursday, and then Friday, the National Hockey League and the Hobey Baker team, they put on the Hobey Baker Award. So they have the top 3 players are up for the Hobey Baker, and there's big crowds that go to these things, and it's just fun, you know, for a great week down in these Frozen Four cities. So I can't wait. I already got hotel reservations for Vegas next year because all the hotels will be sold out close by to T-Mobile Arena, right behind the New York. So New York is the closest one, or you can go across the street, Excalibur or MGM. So those are the 3 closest big hotels, casinos down there in Vegas. If you want to get down there for that. And that's, I think it's April 8th and 10th, or 9th and 11th, I forget now, but there you go. But Western Michigan won the Frozen Four, and I'll tell you what, another NCH won conference, won it again, 7 out of the last 10 years, I think. Duluth won it a couple times. Denver won it 3 times. North Dakota won it once, and then now Western Michigan. So probably still the top league. But I tell you what, the East and the Big Ten really picked it up this last year, and most of those teams took over the top 16 teams to make the playoffs. So, but it's good to see the NCHC. UMD just picked up a nice recruit, local kid. I love this kid. It's funny how you get coaches, kids that play the next level. And I tell you what, we got Carson Young from Cloquet. His dad coached with Dave Essie when Dave was there for many years at Cloquet, Esco, Carleton. And boy, it's good. It's going to be, I think he's going to be a very good player at UMD. He'll probably play juniors a couple years. The thing with college hockey now, they're allowing Canadians, the major juniors, to go to college now. They're eligible. They weren't eligible for many, many years. And so now they are. So it might take a little bit away from Minnesota kids getting on these top junior teams. But I think with new teams coming into the college D1, I think we're going to be okay. But we'll see. That's going to something to watch, because it's going to affect juniors, the USHL, the North American Hockey League, and I think a lot of Minnesota kids going to have to work a little harder or stay in juniors. If they get there, stay there an extra year, because colleges are picking up a lot of these major juniors now, and some of these teams are picking up 2, 3 major junior players. And I think someone told me there's 140 committed already to D1 colleges in the United States. So now a lot of these kids aren't going to come down and play juniors down here. They'll stay up there and play. And so we'll see. And I don't know what's going to happen with community hockey in Minnesota. Are these Canadian junior teams going to come down here and try to recruit a lot? So we just don't know yet how that's going to work. But we'll find out real soon, I bet, because as soon as the high school starts, we'll see where some of these high school kids don't want to finish their high school. They want to go play juniors. We'll be going. So, but going back in the last season in high school, the winner, finally Moorhead Spuds won their first Class AA high school state tournament championship. So good for them. They have one of the best programs in the state, along with Edina. So Moorhead's going to be strong year in and year out because of the way they do their program. And Edina, they got a lot of great coaching, but they got the numbers. So and that helps a lot when you have big numbers in programs. But Moorhead won it was a very exciting game, 7-6 over Stillwater. And that game, Moorhead was way ahead, like 5-1, and then Stillwater started inching back, and then nothing better than state high school tournament in Minnesota, the biggest sporting event in high school in the United States. They're getting over 20,000 in a lot of the night games, so that was great. Again, nothing better than Minnesota State High School Tournament. Third place game was Edina 4 and St. Thomas Academy 3, and then Shakopee won the consolation over Lakeville South for the consolation. And some of the players that, boy, I look forward to seeing in the next level in juniors, and then probably, hey, college. We had Cooper Simpson, probably will be drafted for sure. Mason West from Edina, he'll be drafted. He might be drafted in the first round. And Brooks Collin, that's Matt Collin, that played pro hockey for Pittsburgh, a lot of teams in the Wild. And his son, Brooks, very smart player. You can tell these coaches, all these coaches, players, sons, they're just smart. So they must get it in the bloodline from their parents, because they're just smart. And then let's go to the Class A. And this year, East Grand Forks came out of nowhere. They're just a 500 team, but they play a tough schedule. But they won the state tournament over St. Cloud Cathedral, 2-1 in overtime. And I'll tell you what, St. Cloud Cathedral, I like it when, like, their star player, John Galimsey, he stayed in high school for an extra year. And I tell you what, I like that when these kids stay and play with their friends and community hockey, and it just makes, and I hope somehow we can save community hockey in this state, because sometimes you look, what's going on here? But okay, in third place in Class A, it was Orrin 05, Hibbing 1, and Northfield got the consolation 4-0. Yeah, 4-0. And Johnny Hirschfield was a kid from St. Cloud Cathedral. Lipsy is his teammate. I'm sorry. Yeah, Johnny Hirschfield. So there you go. Great state tournament this last year. And let's go with undergroup, the Bantams and Junior Gold. Junior Gold in the A class, Minnetonka beat Maple Grove. I think it was 4-2. Then in the B class, Shakopee Red beat Montemita 5-2. Bantam AA, Moorhead, there you go. Moorhead won boys high school class AA, and Bantam AA, Moorhead. And Matt Cullen has another kid, I think his first name is Joe. But they won 6-1 over Rosemont, and they were a great Bantam AA team. And like I say, Moorhead's going to be good for a few years. And then Bantam A got War Road. So Road against Rosal, big competitors. So 4-2. So War Road and Rosal, it's good that they'll be decent teams coming up in the next, couple years. And they'll keep going. Yeah, but they're rick-rat towns and rink rats. I love Hibbing was that team this year in the class A. They were just rink rats, and they weren't too organized, but boy, talent. A lot of skill on that team. I hope they stay together and play with each other another year and try to win a championship. And then let's go to Bantam B, Prior Lake over Lakeville South, 4-1. Pee Wee's AA's, Minnetonka won 4-3 in overtime. And Cloquet, they won third place. So Cloquet, that's good. That means they got some kids coming up that might help that team. Over Thief River Falls, they won 5-1, Cloquet. And then Grand Rapids Orange against St. Louis Park won 5-3. So good. Some northern teams in the mix still coming up with some good. And let's see what we got going here. Let's see. Oh, I've been down at the North American Hockey League. And it's been fun. North American Hockey League has 35 teams all over the United States. And up in Alaska, and I'll be having the commissioner on my show in the fall before the showcase, and we'll be talking about if they're going to increase the franchises in their league and get more teams. And there's a big talk about all these pro teams out west. They want more junior teams out there so they can watch and they can scout themselves. And then traveling expense that isn't that much in that. But we'll see if the North American Hockey League expands that way. But that's where I see where the expansion might be, is in the North American Hockey League. But so far, I was down there on Friday, Saturday, and Bismarck, they had the final 4 teams come to Fogarty Rink in Blaine, and they've been doing this for about 8-9 years. And so it's a great tournament. The North American Hockey League puts on a good show. They do everything right. It's just a great atmosphere and everything. You got to go down there, and it's very reasonable to go to these games. But Bismarck, the first game, they played Rochester Junior American. They won 2-1, and then they lost. Well, I'm sorry, they lost 2-1. Then they won 3-2, and then they lost 2-1 again. So no, they won 2-1. So Bismarck's in finals, and then the other game was Wisconsin. Lone Star Brahmas and Wisconsin Wendigos. In that game, Sunday, the final game was 5-4 overtime for Lone Star, and they won the second game on Saturday 6-2. So and Wisconsin won the first game 3-0. So both teams win all 3 games. It was a best of 3 for these 4 teams and the two series with these teams. So it's going to be Tuesday night, Bismarck Bobcats versus the Lone Star Brahmas. So that's for the North American Hockey League. Tuesday night, down in Waterloo for the Clark Cup. This is the Robinson Cup in the North American Hockey League, and the Clark Cup is going to be Waterloo and Muskegon. And there's a lot of Minnesota kids on those USHL teams, so I was almost thinking of going down there, but I got other plans right now. But hey, that's great hockey. So hey, it's been a great season. I probably have one more show before the National Hockey League draft. Bring in a person that knows a lot about the draft and see where the Wild don't have too many picks. I don't think they have any in the first 3, so that's not good for the Wild. But we'll talk about the Minnesota kids that'll be in the draft probably. So thanks a lot. We'll see you at the rink, and thank you, PACT-TV Studios, and thank you, the producers, Sean, Jim, and Liz. And like I said, see you at the rink.